So I'm going to introduce our MC. Our MC for this event will be Mr. Mark Gregory. Comedian Mark Gregory has quickly become one of the rising stars of comedy. His unique ability to perform for churches, corporate events, and comedy clubs sets him apart, making him a highly sought-after act. Though he is the nephew of comedic legend Dick Gregory, he has carved out his own path, appearing on Aspire TV's We Got Next, Fox TV's One's Mike Stan, and TBS Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. In 2014, he taped his first hour special, One Man, Two Worlds, at the historic Victoria Theater here in Dayton, Ohio, and to a sold-out audience. In 2015, he won the search for the One Comedy competition and recorded another television special, this time for television in conjunction with the assignment agency and Oak Viewpoint Films. Finally, he closed out 2016 with a bang, traveling the country as the host of the Rebirth of Comedy Tour featuring Akintunde and David Mann, aka Mr. Brown. At this time, put your hands together for our MC, Mr. Mark Gregory.
Right. Greetings. 1, 2. Now, what's going on? How's everybody doing? All right, good. Glad to be here with y'all beautiful people. Gotta be honest, I feel like I wasted the outfit. I really did. I was like, I'm gonna kill him with my blazer, and then I was like, whoa. So I'm gonna go home and free breeze this, wear this to church tomorrow is what I'm gonna do. But anyway, we're here for a great cause. We definitely need more participation from our community at the ballots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the bio and bring up one of my brothers. I've been knowing this guy for a long time. I really feel like I could speak from my heart, but I will speak from my note card. Carlos Buford, also known as the voter registration guy, was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio, with a heart for engaging and empowering communities of color. Mr. Buford continues to successfully elevate the importance and value of voter registration under his organization, Urban Citizens for Social Justice. Mr. Buford was involved in community activism for nearly 5 years, creating innovative ways to convince people to vote. Mr. Buford is accompanied by family, friends, and church family who support his vision of voting and appreciates his innovative way of using a cell phone to check people's registration. Mr. Buford constantly tries to stay balanced with home, church, work, while still giving time to those less fortunate. With a lifestyle full of changes, Mr. Buford maintains that engaging you to vote is his passion, empowering you is his goal. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Carlos Buford.
I'm going to jump right into it if you don't mind, because I want to make sure that you understand what we have here. I want to get to the point where we prepare our voters to vote. What I'm finding out is most of the people out here in the Dayton area are not ready to vote. For example, they're not even given the right information on how to obtain their registration. They're not given information on how to obtain to see what is on their record. And I think we as leaders must do that in order to make sure that they are ready to vote for these nice candidates that we have here in this audience and some out there as well. So what I found out is I went ahead and called the Board of Elections. And what I have right here, I'm going to have Jamaica scroll up a little bit. I have my certificate of registration. On the certificate of registration, you can obtain this at the Board of Elections. You can't scroll, can you scroll down a little bit? Or is that just? That's the slide picture. Okay, don't worry about it. Let me explain to you what this is. On this slide here, you normally will see my signature. You would normally see my address, and you would normally also see whether you are an active registered voter. And as you can see, I am an active voter. A lot of people here in Montgomery County or even Dayton, they're not active voters. And if you ever see this on your certificate of registration, if you see inactive voter, they are going to purge you out of the system. You do not want that. You do not want to go another day, another hour, not knowing whether inactivity is your status. Another point that I want to make here is your signature. How many of you know for sure what your signature looks like on file at the Board of Elections? Raise your hand. Do you know for sure? These two right here. Give me an example. What did you do, Matthias, to find out what your signature looks like? What did you do? How did you find out? Okay, Ms. Reiner.
I haven't verified it, but I have an official signature that I use on all my official documents, and that's what I've used for elections.
Okay. At the board, that's a good answer. And she has an official document that she uses all the time as her signature, which is fine. But for the average person, don't do that. So that's what I'm here for. To give you an example of what you can do to make sure that you know what your signature is. Now, one thing I've learned too is that if a person like me is going to sign someone's petition, my signature has to be on point. For example, I'm going to use this man right here, Mr. Chris. Stand up for a second, Chris. Chris is going to be running for mayor of Dayton. With just an example, okay? He wants me to sign his petition. So I go and I sign Chris's petition for him to be mayor of Dayton. He takes my signature to the Board of Elections, and I'm supposed to have a signature on file. If my signature that I signed on his petition does not match what's on file at the Board of Elections, my signature for him to be mayor does not count. You ever have those people that sit there and sign their names with a little scribble, a little mark or whatever? If it doesn't match the Board of Elections file, it does not count. I'm telling all of you is this, as leaders, you must, when you're doing voter registrations, take this information I'm going to give you today to everybody, your family, your friends. Tell them this is what you got to do to make sure that you are ready to vote. Your signature must match on file. If it's not matching, you cannot help anyone. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask to go on the next slide, my last slide. And I'm going to make this quick. Right here is what you can do, all of us in this room can do. You look at this right here. This is the number to the Board of Elections. The first slide I had, I called down there this number, and I went through these simple steps. And I called them, I says, I want to see if I'm registered to vote. That person on that line can answer any question you have about registering and voting. And so once they determined that I was a registered voter, they says, okay, Mr. Buford, you are a registered voter. I says, great. I says, I got another question. My next question is, can you send me a certificate of registration? They said, yes. They sent me my certificate of registration 2 months ago. That was the first slide. And I was able to not only see that I'm a registered active voter, but also my information, my address was correct, and also my signature was correct. So not only can I vote, but if I want to give Mr. Chris on a ballot to be the mayor of Dayton, I can sign his petition, and it's going to count when he goes to get it verified at the Board of Elections. So what I'm asking you all to do is, because of the climate that we're in today, and I'm very serious about this, this climate today is not good. This is not normal. I don't care who you are, what party you are in, what color you are. This climate is not good. If anybody in this room think that that's okay, I'm going to say it myself. That's conscientious stupidity. That's right, I said that. Because my thing is this: if you really want to make a difference in your community and help your people out that looks like you, take them to the board of elections. Take this to them right here. Tell them to call this and get ready. Because these leaders out here are not playing. When they say that they're not going to give you health care, they mean what they say. When they say that they're not going to allow you to vote, they are not playing. How are you going to fight this? Well, with this right here, first, make sure that they're ready to vote and sign a petition. So in the back here, I have a table set up. I got these cards right in the back of on my table. All you gotta do is pick one up, take it with you, take it home. First, check yourself. And then once you check yourself, check everybody in your household. 18 years or older, check them. They are not playing, folks. We are in a crisis. And all I can say is this: if you don't do anything here today, the least you can do is make sure that everyone beside you and around you is ready to vote. That's the least we can do for our community. And I'm asking that when you see some of these leaders in here, that when they're speaking from their heart, listen to them. Ask them questions. Ask them where they stand on voting rights. Ask them where they stand on civil rights. Ask them. You can ask them any question you want. That's what they're here for. And they're going to be on the stage. And if I was any of you all, I would be asking them all kind of questions. That's what this is for. And so if you have an issue that you have with them, talk to them. Let them know where you stand and what you want. Because I'm asking them, if you want my vote, you're going to have to work for it. My name is Carlos Buford. I appreciate you all. Please make sure you stop at my table, get this card, take it home, and make sure everyone in your home is ready and registered to vote. Thank you very much.
I do want to tell a story, though, that illustrates why I think I am among the more qualified of the candidates. Prior to coming here today, I was at the Dayton Board of Education strategic planning meeting, and they were talking about maintenance issues. And the conversation, it's not the first time I've heard it, but the conversation was centered around the fact that we have not been doing preventive maintenance in the district for a variety of reasons. And my ears prick up when I hear that, because when I was on the board and we were rebuilding the schools, every single school building had a preventive maintenance manual that was contracted to be written and on file specifically so we didn't run into these conversations in the future. 1 mil of the levy that was passed to rebuild schools was specifically dedicated to preventative maintenance issues. So had that come up while I was on the board, I would have been able to say, oh, excuse me, go to your bookcase and check, because somewhere there's a manual that addresses these issues. So in the 20 years that I've been involved with the school district, I've been through a variety of issues, and I am able to bring that perspective to the conversation. I do have a Facebook page. I learned a new skill. I learned if you type in elect Mario, my Facebook page comes up. So you don't have to go the committee to elect Anne Marie Mario Gallen to Dayton Board of Education. There's a shortcut. I apologize, I will not be able to stay. My brother-in-law is celebrating his 90th birthday today in Kentucky. So we have to be on the road before his reception is over, and we don't get to give our respects. So again, thank you for this opportunity. I hope you check out my Facebook page. My email is on the card. Please feel free to give me any of your concerns, and I'll be happy to address them.
The reason why I'm running is very simple. It's the fact that I have 4 kids in Dayton Public Schools. This is what I care about. This is my passion. My husband and I moved here 14 years ago, and we were told, never send your child to Dayton Public Schools, they're terrible. And when my oldest turned 5, we had to evaluate. We weren't ready to move, and we wanted to stay. We loved Dayton. And we looked at all of our options, and we found a public school that we were blown away with. And we thought, what misconceptions have we had about Dayton Public Schools that are incorrect? And we sent all of our kids to Dayton Public Schools, and we realized that the words, good schools and bad words, are code words. They are code words for schools with high levels of poverty. They are code words for schools that have a population that has been decimated by decades of segregation and redlining. They are code words for communities that need people who are engaged and energized. And at that point, we decided to stay because we love Dayton and we want to make it better. My kids go to 4 Dayton public schools. They love it and we love it, and we are committed to staying here. The reason why I'm running is simple. I was at a board meeting. I go to lots of school board meetings. I was at a board meeting last fall, and the board faced some really tough decisions. And I'm under no illusion that things will be easy when I'm on the board. But I sat in the board meeting, and I looked at the 7 people on the board, and I realized that only one of them has kids in Dayton Public Schools right now. And I thought, you would not make these decisions about your own children. And then I thought, I guess I'm running for school board. Nobody's asked me to do this, but if there's a problem that needs to be fixed, you don't wait for somebody else to fix it. You jump in and you fix it yourself. I am proud to be running a strong grassroots campaign. And I am just so excited about the things we can do for Dayton Public Schools. I have lots of ideas. I don't have 2 minutes to say what they are. Come find me afterwards. I'm going to stay and I want to talk to all of you. My name is Jocelyn Reinard. I'm running for Dayton Public Schools, and I would love to get your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
The only school board member, and for the past 6 years, that has had a child in Dayton Public Schools. And in our last school board member, I was happy to hear we got a report on our summer program. And this is a program that I've pushed. It's fallen by the wayside. I've pushed for summer programming, and I'm very happy to say that we did have 890 students participate in the summer. That's not enough, though. I want to push to get more children involved in summer programming. I think this is one of the reforms that we've put in place that's going to help our Dayton public school system and help our performance. I am a parent. And my daughter goes to Ruskin, and I think the perspective of a parent is very helpful to this board. We see what's working, we see what's going on the ground. We know firsthand about our district just from discussions with our own children and our children's friends. I'm a volunteer. I volunteered at Ruskin and Lincoln. I've been a volunteer soccer coach for my daughter's soccer team. I'm a certified public accountant. Our district runs through $500 million every year, 282 operations budget, general fund budget. Somebody that has a fix on the economic realities of this district, which is the poorest district in the state of Ohio. It's helpful to have a certified public accountant that understands those realities. I serve my country in the United States Peace Corps. I'll be around to talk to you. My name is Joe Lacey. I am a Democrat. I think that's an important perspective. I do have Republican opposition this year. I thank you for the time.
Let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm a graduate of Central State University, graduate work at University of Cincinnati, graduate work at the University of Bristol, England. I'm a TEDx speaker 2016. I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt. I'm a mother. I'm a former teacher of Dayton Public Schools. Now let's throw all that away. We've had smart people, educated people, people from the city who have gotten our district one of the worst rankings in the state of Ohio. We need common sense approach. We need people who are invested in our children. I'm that person. I live where they live. I eat where they sleep. I worship with our children. My children, your children. This is personal for me. These are my babies. This city is on the rebound of an economic boom. And our babies are not prepared for it. It is a travesty that we have to fly in foreign workers from all over the world to take jobs in this city that our kids are not prepared for. Dayton Public Schools is a foundation of economic stability for this entire region. Whether you have a child in this school or not, you are vested in Dayton Public Schools. I'm running because these are my babies. As a teacher, they were my babies. As an administrator, they were my babies. As a mother, as a cousin, as an auntie, these are my children. I have great collegiate and, I guess you would say, business experience, but what has that gained us? I want to work collaboratively with people who have different perspectives, different wisdoms, different knowledge, and bring together what can really happen in this district. It's not impossible. Other districts in worse states than us have overcome these obstacles and put together a plan of action for their students. We can do this as Dayton. I'm running because I can no longer sit on the sidelines and watch hopelessness in the eyes of children, frustration in the eyes of mothers, and me sit on my couch and talk about it or go to a board meeting once a month for 3 minutes. If you're not in the room, you're on the menu. I'm Joelle Jones, I'm running for Dayton City School Board, and I ask for your support November 7th. Thank you.
Nina Turner, most recently a progressive leader in the Ohio Senate. Nina Turner is a college professor, motivational speaker, frequent media commentator, and author. She has worked in leadership at the Ohio Democratic Party as an elected member of the Cleveland City Council. Both opportunities that demonstrated her ability to unify opposing ideologies in critical circumstances. Clap it up for me for those big words consecutively, okay? You just don't get that all the time. Not a stumble. All right. Turner is also a highly sought-after public speaker who has traveled across North America to inspire action and instill hope in crowds of more than 20,000 for bold causes like labor, women's reproductive health, voting rights, and income inequality. Her gifted speech-making and commitment to progressive ideals led to her Democratic candidate for Ohio Secretary of State in 2014, and more recently a national surrogate for Senator Bernie Sanders during the tumultuous 2016 Democratic presidential primary. Today, she appears regularly as a political analyst on national television and radio networks. Turner's passion and achievements as a political figure have been recognized by The Nation magazine, which in 2011 named her most valuable state senator. By Root, which has listed her as one of the top 100 most influential African Americans in the U.S. in 2014. And by Cleveland's Inside C magazine as top 25 most powerful in Northeast Ohio for 2015. So before Nina Turner comes, we're going to watch a video.
Dayton, Ohio, how are you? This is your very own Senator Nina Turner. Sorry I can't be there with you, but I'm so excited that you are having a rally and education session about the power of the ballot box. I hope you all know that that is absolutely the greatest equalizer that we have. It is the only space where our socioeconomic status doesn't matter, our gender, our ethnicity, our sexual orientation, religion, no religion. It is the spot that when we go vote, we are absolutely equal. And so I salute you for making sure that you are pushing this up to the top. This is not a presidential election year, but this is a year when all across this country, most people are voting for locally elected officials, and locally elected officials matter too. And that we can't jump over 2017 to get to 2018, and we can't jump over 2019 to get to 2020. In a representative democracy, for it to be strong, for it to be vibrant, and for it to be responsive to the needs of the people, we need you and you and you and you, all of us, to make sure that we vote every single election year. So, oh yeah, we're gonna rock the vote in 2017, we're gonna rock the vote in 2018, 2019, 2020, and beyond. And so I want everybody there to know, whether you are younger, a millennial, or whether you are a seasoned person, that all of us have to have skin in the game. It matters. It matters that we support progressive candidates. It matters that if you feel motivated to run, you run. It matters that you support progressive issues, because the only way to move our nation, to transform our nation, is if everyday people like you and like me, if we put a little extra on our ordinary, extraordinary things to happen. And the best way to do that is through the ballot box. And I'm going to share a story with you of a young man that I met when I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He ran for the alderman seat in his local community, and he won that seat by 4 votes. Yes, you heard me right, 4 votes. I share that example with you just to remind you that every single vote does matter. Your vote matters, your participation matters. So whether it's local races, state races, federal races, your vote matters. So don't squander it, use it. Make sure that you are rocking the vote.
My name is Mohammed Al-Hamdani. I'm part of a team. I'm part of the slate of 4 candidates running together for Dayton Public School Board. I'm running with Paul Bradley, Karen Witt-Gagne, and Reverend William Harris, who's at his church today preparing for tomorrow. I guess I will not hold him accountable for not being here, considering he's trying to serve God. I want to point out, I'm really glad to see Nina Turner up here, that only members of our slate were invited by the Progressive Caucus for training in DC. Only members of our slate have been endorsed by progressive groups like Launch Progress, which endorses candidates under the age of 35 who are progressive, and they've endorsed Paul and I. There's really a couple of reasons I'm running. I had the opportunity to come here and make something of myself from nothing. I mean, my family arrived here broken. You remember, we barely had clothes back then. And through hard work, through good teachers and investment that was made in me by this city and by the public education, I'm an attorney today. Too many of our kids are not getting that chance anymore. Too many of our children are not getting the American dream that they deserve. Too many of our children, we're failing them. And so I'm running a part of a team that wants to invest back in our schools. We want to see more community involvement in our school by bringing more social services inside our schools. We want to see more commitment to having our schools becoming community hubs, serving the community beyond education. We want to see more investment in our children and the parents. Children and parents learning together, what a concept. We want to see investment in things that matter. We're one of the lowest graduation rates in the state. One of the lowest attendance rates in the state. One of the lowest third grade guarantee grades in the states. Those 3 things matter, and we want to see those investments happen. The biggest reason I'm running is because I have 2 boys, Adam and Zechariah. And if you want to remember me, it's really easy. I'm Mohammed Al-Hamdani with a Muslim name, married a girl who's Catholic, and named his kids Hebrew names. Really easy to remember that. But those 2 boys, I want them to have that same opportunity that I had in Dayton, at Dayton Public Schools. I don't want them to go to another school. I don't want them to go to charter schools or private schools or go to another community. No, I want them to have it here. And I want them to have the same experience and meet people like I did, like Mark, and get to wear tight clothes like we both do. All right. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
As Mohammed stated, I'm running on a slate for school board along with Mohammed, Karen Witt-Gagne, and Reverend Bill Harris. And I think the most important question you can ask any one of us is why do you want to run? And I think that question for me is pretty simple, and it's because I believe that access to public quality education is the best way that we can level the playing field for everybody. And it's not the only way, and it doesn't level it all the way, but it's the best way we can start making progress towards that. And right now, when we have a school district that's second to last in the state of Ohio, we're not doing that. We're not doing our job, and we're failing our kids. And I know we can do better, and I know our kids deserve better. You know, how many Bernie fans do we have in the audience here today? I'm guessing a few. And the only thing I'd say, because I love Bernie, but Sherrod Brown was cool. He was Bernie before it was cool to be Bernie. And that's the man that I got and had the honor of learning from for 6.5 years, as I was his regional representative in this area. And I don't think there's a better progressive champion for the state of Ohio than Sherrod Brown. And you know, I think he stands for all the things that we care about in this state. And not to jump forward to next year, but Mo and I will be working on his campaign regardless of the outcome of this campaign, one way or the other, because we know electing him is important for our state and for our future. And you know, and there's Reverend Bill Harris there too. We cut him some slack because his day job tends to go on the weekends, unlike ours. So those are his busiest days. But I think the four of us, we bring a diverse set of skills to the table. And Bill has been invested in this community as a church leader. He's seen firsthand the impacts that the poor school system has had on children in his community. Karen is a great business leader who's been dedicated to helping redevelop downtown and has been a phenomenal partner for all of us. And Mohammed, he didn't mention it, but he works at CareSource now, which is one of the best social service providers that we need to be partnering with in the school district. And currently, right now, I have the honor of working for Antioch University, which I think has a fantastic history of social justice in this community, social justice-minded education, and also education working in a way that is unique and a little bit more forward-thinking. And I think combined, the four of us, we all look through things with the lens of every action and every decision we have to make. I'm getting cut off. Every action and every decision we have to make, it needs to be decided in the best interest of our kids and our students. And that's not happening right now, but I think it should. Thank you.
My name is William Harris, and I've been in Dayton for over 25 years. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I'm a pastor, I'm a father, I'm a parent. I'm married. Me and my wife came in 1991. We have two sons that are graduates of Dayton Public Schools. So I worked in the community. I pastor Believers Christian Fellowship Church in Hilltop area, 3010 McCall Street. I'm invested in this community. I've seen the ups and downs of Dayton Public Schools. And personally, it's deplorable the conditions, the circumstances, why our kids cannot achieve. And I'm looking forward to bringing the quality of education where they can be competitive in the workforce and make sure that they have competent leadership and make sure that they're ready for the next stage in their lives. I want you to know that I'm an educator, graduate of Howard University Divinity School, Bishop College in Dallas, Texas, also United Theological Seminary where I received my doctorate. I've taught adjunct professor here. So I'm concerned about that third grade level reading. It's essential that our young people learn how to read. I'm concerned about the truancy issue. I think that along with my partners, Karen Witt-Gagne, Paul Bradley, and Mohammed Al-Hamadan, we are ready to I always mess up his name, Al-Hamdani. We are ready to make a difference. And I think that we can work as a team together. We've gotten to know each other. So we may not agree on all the issues, but we can at least sit down. I want to bring some civility, some competence to the board. It is embarrassing to see the way the board is run, the meetings. It shouldn't be that way. But I want you to know that I am for our children. They are our most valuable asset. And I'm looking forward to making a difference on the board as we change that reputation of Dayton Public Schools. So I'm looking forward to working with truancy issues. We're going to be in the community. We're going to foster a relationship with the business community because that's a precious asset. They have mentor programs, mentorships, co-ops, where our young people will take advantage and be competitive with the other school districts. So I'm asking for you to support this ticket on November the 7th. Thank you so much.
I am Karen Witt-Gagne. I'm running on a slate with Mohammed Al-Hamdani, Paul Bradley, and Reverend William Harris. I am not running for Dayton Public School Board because I need to. I'm running because I want to. I entered my children in Dayton Public Schools in 2002. My last child graduated in 2016. We were fortunate enough, we had a great opportunity. I have two great kids that I'm super, super proud of. I see too many of our children today that are met with not being equipped with the emotional tools that they need to continue to develop as successful human beings, and then that leads to quality academic progress. I'm a big believer in guidance counselors in our buildings that can address the emotional needs as well as the academic needs. I am a big fan of average size classrooms. We talked to a teacher at Dunbar High School the other night. She has 32 kids, 32 16-year-old kids in her classroom to teach language arts to. I can't imagine 32 kids in a classroom. I think we need more moderate classrooms. I think we need 22 to 25 kids per classroom. I think we need at least 1 or 2 guidance counselors in our elementary schools, in our high schools. I think that we need to work with our business leaders, with our community leaders to establish workforce development opportunities. I believe that not all of us are designed to go on to higher academic education, but more towards entrepreneurship and creating businesses for ourselves. So whenever I was serving on a board, I served on Seedling Foundation, which supported art programs for Stiver School for the Arts. I served on a PTA program in my kids' elementary schools. But whenever serving on any board, a board should represent different aspects of talent within the board dynamics. I believe that our slate, we have strong, diverse backgrounds, but we all bring unique talents to the table. We've been working together for about 6 months now, so we know one another. We know how to work together. We know we're going to disagree. We've had a lot of conversation about different things, but we do know how to compromise. We know how to conduct ourselves professionally, and we know how to make Dayton Public Schools a better organization. I want to create a school and a school model that other communities are looking to as success models. I want it to be something that we can be proud of, that when we say, yeah, I live in Dayton, my kids go to Dayton Public Schools, that you can be, that we create programs and opportunities that are beyond our wildest expectations. I know we have to be realistic too, and we have to manage the business as such, but this team, the Ahamdani, Bradley, Harris, Wick, Gagne team is the team to drive this organization forward. I appreciate the opportunity. You all have an opportunity as community members to make great changes in the district this year, and we have a great group of qualified candidates. So whatever you do, remember to go out and vote. Thanks so much.
I'm going to have a guest speaker. I'm going to read the bio of Chris Landrum. Born in Boston, Massachusetts, 21 years of age, youngest activist in Dayton, in the Dayton community. Currently a student at Ohio Valley University, majoring in psychology. Plans to be a high school counselor and motivational speaker after basketball. Let's clap it up for Chris.
First of all, I want to give all glory and honor to God for this opportunity to speak. Thank you for all the sponsors, especially for them having me here. I'm just going to get straight to it because I don't want to be long-winded, so I'm going to touch on a couple of different things. Number one, a little bit specifically more about me. I don't really like to write a whole list about my bios, but just real quick, you guys remember the killings of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile 2 years ago. Me and 2 other college students put that rally together, and then ever since then, I just stuck with the whole activism thing and being a community leader, and I always had leadership qualities, but it's something that really hit me hard because I said to myself, wow, they really don't care about us as young African-American males. And for the rest of that month, there was no homicides in Dayton at that time. And then once September hit, the whole month, somebody was being killed or shot or whatever the case may be. And then somebody looked at me and was like, Chris, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. And ever since then, I reached out to the Black Student Union. So I spoke at Ohio Northern University. I spoke at Ohio State University. I went at their programs. I spoke at Ohio Valley University and at Sinclair Community College as well. I've been blessed to have the call of action, and I'm just giving a couple examples that we can do. Like I said, I'm an activist and community leader here. One of my passions is roller skating. There's not really, as you can see, a lot of positives, the reason why we're here in Dayton, Ohio, so I roller skate. And with that, I mentor kids with my roller skating in that aspect, and I make it cheap, and what I'm trying to do is really bring community leadership and community love that we need to have in this Dayton community. And with that, we're talking about voting, so my friend, Mr. Carlos here, he couldn't make it to my first event, but he made it to my second event. So a quote from Steve Harvey which really hit me hard. You know, being young, I'm 21 years old, so people are at 20 years old, they're not really interested into these political things because as of right now, we're young, our parents are telling us to get our education and they're still paying for A, B, C, and D, and whatever the case may be. But he said, if we focus on the things that we should be doing in our 20s, we won't have to worry about those in our 30s. And then he said the same thing about if you focus on things that you should be doing in your 30s, why are you doing that in your 40s? So I looked at that and I said, okay, I'm young right now. I want to have fun. You know, I'm a young adult, be exuberant. But if I take care of my business that I need to take care of right now, you know, what the future's hold for me is going to be worth it in the end. So what I do at my one of my skate events is I have a voter registration, which I met Mr. Carlos at, and I made sure that 200, I want to say about 200 total college students were registered to vote, because as he said, registered voting fraud is huge in Dayton, Ohio. Very, very huge. And some of them didn't even know the specifics about it. So I appreciate you for that. Also, for call to action, I believe we need to put more into the education system and less about sports. The Dayton public school system, on a 4.0 scale, made it eligible for you to play a sport having a 1.0. Now, I play basketball here. Well, not here, but at the school I attend. You can't even get to school. You won't even be looked at with a 1.0 GPA. That is completely outrageous. So we're failing our student athletes and just our students in general from that aspect that we even allow a grading scale for it to be that low. Now, given I know there's some stipulations that they have in terms of not the counseling aspect, but making sure that they get some of the requirements we need, but there's no way that all these should be a requirement and you're not going to be able to look at into college. We also need to take care of the less separating and supporting ourselves. We really need to sit down and tell our kids, listen, I know that you're young, and I know you want to do this and this and that. You don't have to specifically get into politics, but you need to know what's going on in today's world as of right now. What I'm doing right now, currently working on, I've been blessed to meet a lot of people due to activism, my dad being a preacher and roller skating. But I just got a phone call from my friend, his name is Robert Gargile. He lives in California. He's putting a fashion show together in California, and they're working on a way for me to go out and help do some community work that they have in the Los Angeles area in terms of gangs. So please pray for me with that. And I don't want to keep anybody long-winded, so I'm just leaving along with that. And I'd rather everybody who's speaking and running for office, for them to have more time, because it's very important for them to get their point across, because they are supposed to represent our kids. So once again, thank you for your time. There's a lot of things you guys could be doing on this Saturday, but the fact that you guys chose to be here to hear me speak, I really do appreciate it. I'm keeping you guys in prayers, keep me in prayers, God bless you all.
Did not give me enough time to go to the bathroom. They said 15 minutes on here. I had to sprint back. Okay. All right. All right, y'all can loosen up. I know we're here for politics, but man, this is extremely stiff. All right, we can play it one of two ways. I can just roll through this, or we can have fun, relax. I know we're here for politics. Unfold your arms, sir, right here. You, unfold your arms, relax. There we go. All right, there we go. Gee whiz. Brother, you got like 10 more minutes. You need to come back up here and say something else. I didn't even get to undo this. I just heard thank you. I said, yeah, dang it, all right. Nah, it's good, it's good. All right. Okay, now we're going to bring up some of the candidates for City of Dayton.
Hi guys, my name is Matthias Dedamore. I am an activist and community organizer in Dayton. Right now I am the community outreach not director, I don't know. I'm a community outreach person for the Yes on Issue 2 campaign. Yes on Issue 2 is going to be on, or Issue 2 is going to be on the ballot November 7th. People should be saying November 7th, so we remember when we're supposed to vote. Although early voting does start October 11th, so we should be doing that as well. Issue 2 is the Drug Price Relief Act. And what it does is it requires that the state, for any prescription drugs that the state directly pays for, to pay no more than what the Veterans Administration pays for the same drugs. The VA is a unique agency in the United States in that it is the only agency that has the ability to directly negotiate with the drug companies. So it literally has the lowest drug prices in the country. So what Issue 2 is doing is saying that for any drugs that the state pays for, which is over $3 billion a year, we will get that same discount that the VA pays for, which is on average 24%, and in many cases a lot lower. This will directly affect about 4 million Ohioans. So this covers folks on Medicaid, and the state prisons, any of the PERS and state employee retirement programs. And it saves the state of Ohio anywhere from $400 million. A Case Western report came out last month that said that number could be upwards of $536 million a year. That's a lot of money that taxpayer dollars, hard-earned dollars, that'll stay here in the state of Ohio, rather going and continuing to line the pockets of drug company CEOs. And just to put that in perspective, $536 million is the 2018 budget for infrastructure repairs, capital gains projects. It's twice what we'll be paying for the opioid epidemic, and it's 3 times what we'll be spending on education, which is kind of appropriate since we've been having a lot of our education board candidates up here speaking. So the drug companies have been spending a lot of money confusing folks on this issue. It's expected that at the end of the campaign they'll have spent $40 million to tell everybody that it's going to raise drug prices for Ohioans, or it's not really going to do anything, or there's this squirrely CEO who's actually a humanitarian out in California. That, at any rate, they are spending a lot of money to confuse folks. It's a very simple issue. At the end of the day, it saves Ohioans taxpayer dollars, and what it really does is it starts the conversation on how do we start holding drug companies accountable and their absolutely ridiculous amounts of money that they're taking off of people. We know that they can do this. We spend less money on drugs than other countries. The exact same firms selling the exact same drugs. Every other country on earth has regulatory requirements, and to the extreme degree that the hepatitis C cure that recently came out in recent years. In the United States, it's a 3-month regimen, 1 pill a day, 95% cure rate. $100,000 is what that costs here in the United States. That exact same treatment in India costs $1,000. So the drug companies are really scared in what they face to lose here. And it's not even just about the tax dollars that Ohio will save. It's about the domino effect that's going to happen when other states start doing this same thing, and then private insurance companies start doing the same thing, and they start losing power. And their nightmares are already started, because South Dakota has already reached out to the campaign, and they're in the process of collecting petitions for the exact same legislation to go on their ballot in 2018. So, anyway, I can get long-winded as well. And I'm gonna leave it there. I'll be here, I've got some pamphlets and stuff, and I can answer any questions afterwards. But if you stand against the drug companies and you want to start making it so that they're held accountable, you gotta vote yes on issue 2 on November 7th. So, thanks.
It's a real pleasure to be here to talk about my history, my background in terms of why I am on the Dayton City Commission right now and why I need to be retained to continue to move in the right direction with the leadership that I've gained and learned over the decades. As a former teacher and a coach, also as a squad leader in Vietnam, where I volunteered to go because I thought it was the right thing to do for my country. It's been a lifelong challenge of mine to improve the quality of life as far as my community is concerned. It's especially honorable for me to also, over the last 4 years, to be the chairperson of President Obama's My Brother's Keepers initiative. As we talk about community development, we talk about the group, African American males, who have been the group that has been targeted the most to make sure they're not successful. And as they're not successful, neither is their family. And neither are they in a position to take care of their children when they have those children as well, to support them in education, quality health, and quality recreation, and all those things combined. Nor are they in a position to help them as far as jobs are concerned. Now, as I've continued to work for the last 4 years on the City Commission,
one of the things that has improved tremendously is our unemployment rate. We were probably about 12 years ago about 12% unemployment. Now we are less than 5%. I think it's 4.7% unemployment. We have the largest or the fastest job growth in the region, right here in Dayton, for this during the past 4 years. As we look at how we're working on issues also to help this particular community, we have a safety issue. Safety has been a major thing that we have focused on as well. Those safety factors have allowed us to generate more support and external investments in terms of dollars from different organizations and different companies. We are an all-American city, not because everything in the city of Dayton is perfect, by no stretch of the imagination. We're an all-American city because we have led the way with being an immigrant-friendly city. We've led the way in terms of how we work on all the different boards that have effect in terms of dealing with people. You know, I have also served as co-chair of the Sinclair Levy in the past, Human Services Levy, also the levy to build new libraries. All those things also add to the vitality of our particular community, and it puts us in a position to improve the quality of life. Now, I know I probably got about 2 minutes, or do I have 30 seconds left? What's our time frame? I'm finished. Because I was waiting for the smooth man to walk up. You know how he does, walk up and lean towards you? Okay, but I'm going to close by saying real quickly, I am a product of Dayton Public Schools and also Jefferson Township Schools. Okay, so are my children. Both my children graduated from Dayton Public Schools and went to school and got on scholarships, athletic and academic. And they don't ask me for money anymore. So I think they did a great job. They got multiple degrees, doctorate degrees, all kinds of stuff, but all because of this community and community services, what made those things happen. So my challenge is to give back to this community in the same manner that this community gave to my children. Thank you very much. You would have more time, Commissioner, but it took you like a good minute just to come to the stage, so that's
I just want to say a few things. I've been in the community for a long time. I'm also native Daytonian, graduated from Dayton Public Schools, went to Central State University for undergrad, got my graduate degree, have an MBA from Ohio State University, and that's really where I started my trek into business and finance. But with that, I've always had a passion for the community, so I've always been involved with a number of community events, whether that was Habitat for Humanity, YMCA boards, just have always been involved in other events, which led me to being on the school board for 8 years, and now I've been on the city commission for 16 years. In my time, I've seen so much. Dayton has gone through transformations and issues, and I'm very proud of the way that we have dealt with all those issues. We've dealt with all those issues, particularly on the city commission, because of 4 things that I believe in heavily. I believe in financial management, which is a natural given my background. Safety, we have to have safe communities for both all the residents and for our school children and for everybody involved, for businesses. We have to continue a focus on jobs, which we've been doing. And last but not least, we have to have activities for everyone, particularly our youth and our seniors. So those have been my focus, and that focus has done us well. Commissioner Mims, he mentioned All-American City. I hope you know that when he said All-American City, that wasn't his opinion. That wasn't his way of branding the city. That's actually what magazines and third parties have labeled Dayton as we've had our transformation. Most people who watch Dayton, they will say that Dayton has great momentum, is going in the right direction, and we're really doing some wonderful things. Now, does that mean that things are perfect? No, it doesn't. Does that mean that we don't have issues? No, it doesn't. It just means that when we are dealt issues, we deal with them positively. One that's been in the paper lately that I want to speak to is one around a grant that came to the city and it didn't work out. It was handled poorly. It happens. I've worked with thousands of businesses in my career as a banker, and I can tell you all companies have issues. The question is, how do you deal with them? So if you go back and look at the city, and you look, what did the city do when it had an issue? I'm not going to talk about personnel issues, but go back and look. You will see we have new policies, and we have new people in place around that issue. So I'm here to tell you the city has worked well, we've dealt with our issues, and we have a vision to continue all the great momentum that you see downtown. We want to leverage that and have more of that coming to the neighborhoods. And we're starting to see more of that. We're seeing more businesses going to the neighborhoods, we're starting to see more people moving to the neighborhoods, and I'm here to tell you, please vote for the team, myself, Commissioner Joey Williams, and Commissioner Jeff Mims. We have a proven track record of getting things done that we aim to do. This isn't a philosophical guess or proclamation. This is, look at the history, we have a track record. If you want to learn more about me, please go to my website, joeydwilliams.com. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shanice Turner-Sloss, and I am the only African-American female candidate for City of Dayton Commission. There you go. Thank you. As my former classmates state, I am a proud product of Dayton Public Schools. Graduated, went off to college, received my bachelor's in political science from Fisk University. Once I returned home, I noticed Dayton wasn't the same Dayton as it was when I left. Grew up right here in Residence Park. And when I returned home, a dear friend of mine, a very feisty young lady, I said to her, "What happened?" And I knew right then and there I wanted to be a part of the change. She looked at me and she said, "You should." I received my master's in public administration from Central Michigan University. And in that time, I started my career with the City of Dayton and the Department of Planning and Community Development. I managed the city's federal and state dollars. Now I share all that with to let you know I understand the city policies and procedures. I understand the inner workings of government. I know that it takes cutting-edge thought, innovative thinking, proactive initiatives, not reactive. We have to do better. We need to do better. It takes new leadership. It takes innovative thought. I am asking each and every one of you to come out and vote on November the 7th. Vote for new leadership. Vote for your neighborhood team. Daryl Fairchild and I are your neighborhood team. Now, you heard the talk about how development will be leveraged. We have to do a better job. Our neighborhoods cannot stand another 4 years of the current commission that we have in place. We need new leadership. Under my leadership, the block by block approach, you will feel the implementation. You will feel and see the dollars in your community. You won't have to wait. Because the block by block approach, where we will go into all of our neighborhoods, there's 65 of them. And some might ask, how will you do that? We're going to invest in the city staff. We have 65 neighborhoods. And believe it, out of those 65 neighborhoods, we have 7 to 9 housing inspectors. How can you do a job with 7 to 9 housing inspectors for 65 neighborhoods? No wonder our neighborhoods are being left to the wayside. It takes new leadership to invest in the people. That's what government is all about. It's relational. It's about people. And so the block by block strategy, we will build our neighborhoods one block at a time. We will create jobs. We will attract businesses. We will have aggressive demolition. And we will make you, and everyone in this room and beyond a priority. I respectfully ask for your vote on November 7th. I'm Shanice Turner-Sloss, and I am a part of your neighborhood team. Daryl Fairchild is my running mate. Please come out and let's rock the vote.
I'm Daryl Fairchild, and Shanice says I'm part of your neighborhood team. I'm running with Shanice Turner-Sloss, and we're running because of what you see and what you know. Our residential neighborhoods simply need work. And in addressing our needs in our community, we know there are two big challenges. You talk about a track record. The survey recently surveyed its residents. A majority of our residents don't feel safe in their neighborhoods, nor do they feel like Dayton's a good place to raise a family. We must do better. If you think of Dayton and what has been successful, you need a champion and a plan. Do you remember Tony Capizzi started talking about a minor league baseball team? People thought he was crazy. But he was persistent, he got a plan, and now we have a great asset. The same is true with downtown. Michael Urban was the early champion.
2010, we got a plan. 7 years later, we see incredible revitalization. We can have that same revitalization in our neighborhoods, but we need a plan. The last time the city had a plan was adopted in 1999. It's called the Dayton 2020 Plan, and it hasn't been updated since. That's astonishing, thinking about all that has taken place since 1999, including the foreclosure crisis. Recently, the commission said that 7 years ago, it would cost $25 million to clean up the blight. In that same time, we have spent $18 million. And because we don't have a plan, does anyone in this room think that we're only $7 million away from having the blight cleaned up? We need a plan, we need champions. That's why I'm running with Shanice Turner-Sloss. We'll be the champions, we'll be persistent until we get a plan, and we have a plan, we get a budget and implementation. I am a community leader for over 25 years in Dayton. I'm known for getting things done. In my day job, I'm the chaplain manager at Dayton Children's Hospital. I'm a husband, I'm a father of a proud second grader at Rivers Edge Montessori School. I'm a product of Dayton Public School, went 2 years at Dunbar, graduated from Belmont, and in my spare time, I ride a hand cycle. I completed my 8th Air Force Marathon this fall. I'm running, thank you. I'm proud to say that Shanice and I have been endorsed by one of the sponsors, the Miami Valley Progressive Caucus. Thank you for your endorsement and your confidence. I'm running with Shanice Turner-Sloss. We're your neighborhood team. We ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Issue 3 is a human services levy, and it will protect and provide important services to 50,000 of the most vulnerable members of our community, 50,000. It's important to remember it does this with no tax increase. We're not increasing taxes, we're holding the line and continuing to provide services. It will help our frail elderly by providing nutritious home-delivered meals. We diagnose and treat people with disabilities and provide services that are needed at Stillwater and other places. We work with mental health, and we're working and use these human services dollars to help fight the drug epidemic that's so devastating our community. We help people who are unemployed get ready and find employment. We also will provide inspections at restaurants. When you go out to eat, you want to make sure your food's safe. That's part of what the Human Services Levy does. We also use the money to provide immunizations and vaccinations. Again, this is no tax increase, and it's on the ballot, so we hope you come out and support. Thank you.
I'm Madeline Isley. I want to put in a word, too, for Issue 3. I'm on the board of the Developmental Disability Services Agency for Montgomery County, and my sister, who was born with developmental disabilities, received services from that agency, which is supported by Human Services Levy dollars, so thank you for your support for that. Why do we vote? So that we can have a say in the future of our communities. It's because of voters like you that Sinclair has been strong for the last 51 years. Local taxpayer support has allowed Sinclair to be strong, and for example, this year, award a record number, over 5,000 degrees and certificates this year alone. So I would ask for your support to vote for Issue 4. Also, a straight renewal won't increase your taxes. Keep Sinclair strong. Let's have a continued say in the future success of our community, and vote for Sinclair. Thank you.
Sierra Leone, poet, producer, activist, educator, and entrepreneur. Sierra Leone captivates audiences with her unassuming ingenuity, profound insight, and comedic sense of knowing. Though her poetry and onstage production, Sierra Leone aims to always connect the dots, embedded in a sense of history, and inspire her audience to come alive. Often called a healing producer and the artist impresario of urban creative arts, Sierra Leone is known for using her unique hybrid style and inclusive collaborations to design authentic work that impacts the students and the greater community. Over the years, she has become known as a regional master collaborator. Born Lucy Owens, Sierra Leone is a master collaborator and serves as the artistic director of Signature Educational Solutions, a leading independent urban educational organization focused on the creative arts located downtown Dayton, Ohio. As the co-founder of the company's umbrella organization, OFP, Productions. She is the artistic designer and producer of the off-Broadway theatrical review, The Signature, a poetic medley show, a quarterly urban creative arts production housed at the Loft Theater. In 2012, Sierra Leone was recognized as Dayton's Creative Arts Producer of the Year by Joe Magazine. All right. There's still more. As a College of Liberal Arts distinguished alumni of Wright State University who graduated in the 1% of her class, Sierra Leone understands firsthand the powerful impact that outreach and student services program can have on youth. And she has steered her organization's community collaborations accordingly. As a community liaison, partnering with local schools and universities to provide creative arts, youth mentoring, and community support. She has produced and co-created the Regional Academic Cultural Collaborative, which was a merger of creative arts, education, and the business of entertainment. She has also created the in-school poetry performance program, Art of Word, co-produced with the Muse Machine, and produced the Rhyme Mayor's McLean Talent Show. In 2014, in partnership with internationally renowned artist Willis Beam Davis, Sierra Leone created and presented Words from the Rooftop, a tribute to Dr. Maya Angelou. Also in 2014, she received the Wright State University Multicultural Center's MLK Distinguished Service Award. All right, so after all that, let's clap our hands for Sierra Leone. I made it through the extensive, vast bio. We're professional, feel like we know you so well. All right.
Thank you. How are you all today? Shout out to Neighborhood Over Politics. What a beautiful program today. This is where the work is done. This is how the work is done. We thank you so much for your entire organization willing to bring all sides together to have a conversation about very difficult matters. Today, I want to share 3 quotes before I read the poem. A quote that speaks to me always when I'm called upon is by Nina Simone. It is the job of the poet to speak to the issues of their times. Amiri Baraka also said that. This is inspiration for you, the organizers, because it's not easy to wake up every single day and remain dedicated to your purpose. To do the work, always, it's not easy. And so this quote is for you. Always remember, a flower that blooms once will always bloom again. And for me, taking stage here today, I think we must, the quote that speaks loudest to me is, all relationships are a function of choice. The way we maximize our opportunities is by choosing intentionally and not by default.
There you go.
And that's why we are here, because we do not want to choose by default. So I'm going to give a stab at it, right, at this whole bit of celebrating what it means to rock the vote. That's what we're doing. We're rocking the vote. Okay. I got it. The piece is entitled A Seat at the Table for Neighborhoods Over Politics. On the brink of social gentrification, our human algorithm reincarnated the invisible hand of humanity. The back-bending beast of multi-directional disorder can no longer be hidden in policy. Generation Now bullhorn social justice bravery stood on the cornerstone of determination to become the nation's modern-day face of accountability. Disenfranchisement is no longer my ethnicity. Equality has become my race. The moral fabric of impregnated tomorrows has woven more than cotton gin change. We surely did not ask for a heritage of sugarcane slavery, calloused hands and feet, a societal mentality driven by plantation economics. Operation Occupy bullet-cased isms, calibrated lead pointed directly at police brutality and demands for raising minimum wage. Social action is more than a right. It must be a part of your daily life. We talking blood on the leaves, blood on the root, and the pavement too. Voice to change is how we take a seat at the table. So much has been misplaced along the way. Awareness and intellect are two very different things. Whether you're sitting on the heels of capitalism, memorized or mesmerized by middle-class living, or resting in impoverished valleys of urban reality, shared lived experiences has become our catalyst for affordable education. My grandparents and community griots would often say, power will never be given, it must be taken. How do we see beyond the messy burden of politics and deny participation in the American dream? The polling station, rock the boat, rock the vote. Complaining without engagement is like vocalized suffocation. I can't breathe. Ingenuity has always been our ancestors' leverage. Poll tax paying, literacy test taken, property ownership proven, non-citizenship existence, immigrant migration. We know this place, right? Governed by force and lack of support turned buried corpses, breaking their silence. Revolt, revolution, rebels turn overdosing on food deserts, health crisis, prison populations, astronomical infant immortality and opiate death rates. But articulated suffering is not solving bottomless problems. We are the call to action. Voting is how we renegotiate local governing agreements. History is our footstool. Stand on it, advocate, baptize. Baptize innovative voices to mediate more than delivered services. We talking about a seat at the table is our preference. We don't want to lose sight of what we came for. Vote. 2020 vision in 2018 and 2020. Vote. Remember Tubman, Douglas, Mandela, King, Sojourner, Parks, Malcolm, Dunbar, Baraka, Maya, Davis, Obama, Brown, Randolph, Fannie Lou Hamer, Thurgood, Megger, Dunbar. Now we are asking you to vote.